Hi, I'm Bob Vila. Welcome home again to our little farmhouse here in Medford, Mass. Today we're dealing with the HVAC system, both for the little barn and the house. Also, we're going up on the roof. Brand new roof on this house, also some beautiful copper skylights. The electrician is here to show us some new hi-hats, and we'll be taking a close look at how you can repair the sidewall on your house. Stick around. Good to have you home again. All right, well, we're getting started today in this former dairy barn, which is being converted into 2 artist studios and space for one car garage on the far end. And most of the framing has been completed now. You got staircase, the partitions in place. We got a boiler room back there. Let's say hi to Paul Costello.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Good. How are you? This is the Space Pack system, and basically, what kind of a system is it?
These are the materials. It's a hydro-air system, and we're going to use one system that's going to provide both heating and cooling to this artist studio.
All right, so you do have a boiler.
You have a hot water boiler that will be connected to some hot water coils that we'll see later, and that will provide both heating and cooling.
Okay, and then you've got a water heater here for domestic.
This is a domestic indirect hot water heater, which means that hot water will flow through a coil internally. There is no flame, produce hot water, and it's very efficient.
Okay, and then in the boiler room, we've got Lou Messina, our other contractor here. Hey, Lou.
How you doing, Bob?
Now you're moving that into place. Which component is this, Paul?
This is the hot water coil. This is the return. The return will go through here. The fan is drawing the air through. It's heated through the distribution duct and then upstairs.
All right, so hot air rises, cool air drops to the bottom, and it returns via
this return.
This area here. What happens in there, Lou?
Well, what happens in here, Bob, is we have 2 coils. One coil is going to take care of our heating, and one coil is going to take care of the cooling. And basically what happens is that large opening there, our return air, the air is going to come in here, and then it's going to go up our twin plenums, which goes up through the main plenums, which run around the perimeter of the building and supplies all our supply tubing to all our outlets around here.
All right, so
circulation
if the system is operating in the winter months and is calling for heat,
then the heating coil here has hot water from the heating boiler.
From that boiler I was just looking at.
From that boiler there.
And that boiler's coming into this space.
Right. And,
okay.
and in the summertime, you have your refrigerants coming through the other coil, which is for the cooling.
Now, the refrigerants are coming from outside of the
From our condensers that we have just on the other side of the wall here.
And what kind of condensers are those?
Those are American Standard condensers that we use. They're 5-ton units to match this 5-ton system.
Now, Paul, one of the secrets of this whole system is high-velocity delivery. And let's go upstairs and we can take a closer look at all the ductwork and get out of their way so I can get the boiler in here. So this former loft would make terrific artist space or home office use. And I guess this is the area directly over the boiler room, right?
Yes, this is the boiler rooms directly below us, and this is where the plenum duct is coming up to feed both the first floor and the second floor.
All right, so that the distribution for both floors takes place along this level.
Along the outside walls.
Okay. Now, what you're calling a plenum duct is basically this round stuff, right?
Yes. It's a fiberglass duct that's insulated and coated on the inside. So
what's the inside coating? What's it there for, I mean?
What it's there for is to protect any type of growth or mold in the ductwork.
Oh, to keep it clean. That's very important, yeah. And then, of course, it's also fiberglass, so you don't have any kind of heat loss or
No, with the high-velocity system where the air is moving quicker, there's less loss in the ductwork.
Okay. And then the secret to this high-velocity system, too, is this flexible, what is this, 3-inch ductwork?
This is 2-inch, and what we call this is the sound attenuator tube, and it absorbs any noise or sound before it goes into the room.
So that you won't have any kind of whirring noise from the high-speed...
From the ductwork.
Now, what have you done so far, Paul, in the main house?
In the main house, we have 3 systems for each zone. We have a first floor, second floor, and a third floor.
Right.
The first floor air handler is in the cellar, and then we have 2 air handlers in the attic that will feed both the second and third floor.
Okay, so that these are basically hanging from the rafters, right?
One is mounted in the floor in the basement, and then you have 2 that are suspended from the ceiling on the attic area.
And the reason for suspending them has to do with vibration, or?
Vibration and also space. We wanted to keep as much space as we could up in that area because it is finished.
And will it be easily accessed if you have to service the units?
Yeah, they're very easy access for both homeowner and servicemen.
Terrific. Now over here, I noticed that we're getting ready to do some connections, right? How do you connect these things?
What Joe's doing here is he's going to connect this supply tubing that will take care of the upper level. He'll take a 2-inch hole saw. He'll drill into the ductwork. Pulls it out, takes out the core. Then he'll have a gasket in what we call our quick connect outlet that snaps into the plenum duct, and it holds tight here so that there'll be no problem after this is all closed up.
So that snaps into place?
Yes, it does. Those are reverse acting pliers. What he's going to do is put those down inside, give it a snap, you'll hear a click, and you know that it's connected.
So there's no tape involved?
No, there's no tape.
Okay, then these all basically provide the assurance that you'll have even cooling or even heat throughout the space.
With the high velocity system, you're creating a pressure center in the room, which typically you don't have a difference between floor and ceiling of 2 degrees.
Gotcha. And we wanted to be able to keep everything under the windowsills here so that we could have a window seat built here.
That was the constraint of the space, that we needed to hide the ductwork so you could keep the openness here, and it will be made into a window seat.
Great. And then over here we've got the continuing distribution with the smaller ones that actually feed the space.
Those are feeding the
down
first
below.
floor.
Thanks for coming over.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. In a minute we're going to take a close look at the roofing system, including these beautiful skylights. Don't go away. Next we'll be talking about a new roof and copper skylights at this remodeling project. Well, the back side of the house is truly a work in progress. We've got the entire structure for the backyard deck right up against the whole width of the house, and that doesn't have decking on it yet, but we do have lots of temporary supports for the pipe staging. We had to put up a 3rd-story pipe staging here in place so that we could work on the gutters up there and replacement windows and the like. This really makes it go a lot more quickly, and it's a safer installation. The gutter that was up there was a wooden gutter, probably the original one, and when they went to touch it, it fell off. So we've replaced it with a wooden gutter, which is the appropriate material here. Of course, that requires a certain amount of maintenance every year. Then if we look over at this end of the house, you can see the more or less completed little addition, the bump out on the kitchen, which has the 3 windows in place and really gives the whole back side of the house here a very contemporary feel. Also, the breezeway has been built, and this is going to be, I think, a unique feature of the house. Now, we don't have any of the French doors in place just yet because we're waiting to get the drywall installed inside the house before we put them in place. And, of course, one of the key things that happened around here recently was that we decided the roofing material was just too worn to leave it in place. And so we've got a brand new roof in place, and Ken Langevin is here from Owens Corning. Tell us a little bit about these shingles that we've used here.
These are the 40-year architectural, Bob.
Now, why do they call it an architectural shingle?
Let's get this laminated section, the 2 pieces glued together. Very strong, gives you architectural 3-dimensional look.
That's it. It gets a 3-dimensional look, but it's a 40-year warranty because of the extra buildup of asphalt and mineral granules, right?
Exactly.
Now, when you've got one of these roofs and you start to see shiny black through the granules, that means it's probably time for a new roof. Now, I know the guys love installing these products. They go in very easily. And one of the things that's key here is the ridge detail, right?
This is the ridge vent.
Comes in a roll, and you just roll it out on top of the ridge.
And use a nail gun, just put it right in there.
Right.
It has a wind-driven baffle here, so any rain that does get in there will sit.
Will sit.
And it's covered with the hip and ridge shingle to give it that 3-dimensional architectural look.
And this, of
like
course,
that.
just folds
Just
like that,
sits right on
over
there.
the ridge, and then the next one sticks right on there.
Here's your adhesive. Just keep going.
Yeah. Now, you did also put a, what do they call it, an ice dam?
Ice and water barrier, Bob, on the ridge.
This is just a sample of
And
it.
the
It comes in
eaves.
4-foot rolls.
3-foot, 4-foot rolls.
Yeah.
It has an adhesive back.
What's the purpose of this?
When you get the ice buildup in your gutters, it won't push up underneath the shingles, and you won't get any leaks.
It's a beautiful roof. In fact, we had a lot of fun watching the guys put it in place just a few days ago. Watch. First, the crew from MC Construction removed the old layers of roofing material from the barn. Next, they added a layer of Louisiana Pacific oriented strand board over the original roof sheathing. This OSB cuts easily, lays down flat, and is dimensionally stable. It's manufactured with thin wafers of wood, resins, and wax compressed under intense heat. When used as roof sheathing, it's extremely resistant to moisture damage. Then they stapled down a layer of felt paper and marked it with chalk lines to lay out the courses of asphalt shingles. Since these architectural shingles are a double-layer shingle, they're fastened through the pre-marked white line to assure that both layers are attached to the roof. Also, the frames for the Velux VSE skylights were installed. These venting skylights will be operated with a handheld remote control. Copper step flashing is then added to the side of the skylights, and the asphalt roof shingles are fastened up to it. I think it's a very good choice for this house because it starts to unify both the carriage house and the house itself, having that same new architectural shingle. But then when you look at the Velux skylights that have been put in place with the copper trim, the copper flashing and frames on them, they appear not just here, but they appear on about 6 other different locations throughout the house. When you look at these components together with the copper roofing that'll be installed soon on the breezeway, as well as on this addition here, that's what architecture is all about here, trying to bring a context of different elements together that unify the whole thing. When we come back, Charlie will be replacing broken and damaged sidewall shingles. Stick around. When we stripped the house of the man-made siding that was put on here about 40 years ago, we discovered a kind of a decorative treatment, a whole course of scalloped shingles and dentelated molding beneath them. We've done some repairs. Charlie, our contractor, figured out how to create a jig so that he can make more of this replacement dentellation. Right now, the homeowners have a few colors put up there. They're trying to decide what to use. But Charlie's been doing a lot of shingle repairs to the house, because some sections, like this, it's all new shingle work. In other areas, the existing shingles are in good enough condition that you can just do a quick repair. He's around the back of the little barn. Let's go take a look at how you do that. Hey, Charlie.
Hi, Bob.
Now, how do you decide which ones have to be removed?
Well, we have a look for them. Basically, if they're cracked, then you're going to remove them.
Sure.
Replace
And this one, obviously, you
This
put an
one
X
is
on it.
cracked.
That one's
Yep.
cracked.
That one is done.
And how do you take it out?
Well, we just take a shingle ripper that has a hook on either side of it, grabs the nail, when you put it up in here, and pulls down the nail.
And that
Just
allows
pull
you
it
to
out.
take it out. Sometimes you're going to lose the
Sometimes.
one on top as well, right?
Maybe one up above it. That'll come out. And we have it open.
But in some cases where they're not, that one's split, that one's going to have to go.
This will go.
But where they're not split, then you can just re-nail them, batten them down.
Tighten them up, re-nail, tighten it up like this one here. We could actually tighten that one up right now. Just take a nail. Come back in.
Needs to come up a little bit. There you go. Okay, now where you're going to fill in, like over here, you've already removed it.
Right.
How do you go about making the patch?
Well, first of all, again, we'll tighten this one up here. Just get a nail in. And we'll take a piece of aluminum flashing. And get
That's
it
an extra precaution, which is not a bad idea. You're covering up the joint that's already there before you put in the patch
Correct.
shingle.
That way there we won't get any weather in behind it. Then we'll just take our shingle, hold it up here, mark it, take our square, get a reference line, all right. Hold it down.
And you just cut it with your utility knife.
Correct. Snap it off. And put it up in here.
And you can cut it to fit so that it's
Relatively
tight,
tight.
right?
Relatively tight.
yeah. Fact is
A
that
little bit of
eventually
a gap won't hurt it.
it probably will shrink just a little bit.
Right.
And then you're setting the nail as far up as you can.
Right, underneath the shingle above it. And that's how we get our patching.
Well, in the best of all possible worlds, we'd have the budget to just strip the whole thing and do it
Correctly.
over again, because there's a lot of patching
Right,
here.
there is. But again, we don't have the budget, so we have to do it selectively.
Looks good. Thanks, Charlie.
Okay, Bob.
Next, the electrician installs a new recessed light fixture in the existing plaster ceiling. Barry Driscoll from Driscoll Electric is installing some new Lightalier fixtures that are specially designed for remodeling work. Hey, Barry.
Oh, hey, Bob.
So you've just made the first cut up there with hole saw, and that gets rid of the plaster because this is a ceiling that we're trying to preserve.
We're trying to make the 5-inch hole saw, or the 5-inch hole that we've used, trying to make that perfect since that's the size of our housing. We've gotten rid of the old horsehair plaster, horsehair and plaster. Now we're going to cut away the wood lath.
And now the rotozip will help you make the cut through the old lath, and the objective is not to destroy the existing ceiling. It gets a little bit messy, but that's the story of remodel. Now, you've got some insulation up there, don't you?
Yeah, we have to move the insulation away. We're going to have to be at least 3 inches away from any part of that light that we're going to put up here.
Okay, but this is a new type of recessed light that Lightaliers come out, right?
Yes, it is.
And tell me a little
It's a
bit
new
about it.
remodeler for an existing ceiling in a new home, if you had, or an old home where you were going to keep the sheetrock in your ceiling. This low voltage light fixture can adapt up into that and give you a new Evolution trim, which is the new Lightalier recessed style light. Has a transformer inside of it.
That's what I was going to ask. And you just feed it with regular 14-2 cable, right?
That's right. The light gets wired with regular 110, and then that step-down transformer steps it down to 12 volts, 50 watts.
What do you have to do there next?
We're going to take out one of the knockouts in the back of the housing and bring our 14-2 gauge wire right into it. I'm going to undo the conductors that are already pre-wired for us. We have a ground, we have a hot, and we have our neutral. We're sending regular power into the housing, and then the transformer inside of the housing is going to convert our electricity for our low voltage bulb. Our housing has a thermal protector on it in case it gets too hot in the area where we are.
It'll shut the light off?
It'll shut the light off before anything would happen.
Great.
We've already removed the insulation at least 3 inches around the housing.
Well, that's a clever design.
We put the housing in the ceiling like so, and we're going to pull this one piece right down on through. And pull that down. We're going to take our housing and push it right up into the ceiling. Once it gets up into the ceiling, you're just going to take that strap,
And fold it back up?
push that strap back up. There's also inside 2 sets of clips. We're just going to lift those clips to the top of the sheetrock or the wood lath or the wood or whatever our inside surface is. And we're just going to push them straight in. Up inside of the housing is a little set screw, and the set screw is going to tighten our trim right to the sheetrock and make sure it's nice and tight.
Terrific. Thanks a lot, Barry. All right, we're running out of time. Come home again next time when we'll be putting up a standing seam copper roof on the breezeway and installing a tubular skylight. Till then, I'm Bob Vila. It's good to have you home again. For lots of information and resources for your home improvement project, check out my website at bobvila.com.